It's too much.
Used to make fun of his language and him struggling with English.
Nothing is ever too much for him. Nothing ever gets him down. When things go wrong, he has this amazing ability to pick himself up.
I'm from Monde and I'm 23 years old and I'm a game designer. Kokorechi Limpopo, right? Leboagomo, a small little township called Limpopo.
It's too much. Baralka strateng libana babangwe.
A lot of games dealing popular amongst black community, right? And like your Chicago's, your Mkaki, your Mruba, Mravarava, Maskitlana, which is storytelling. Like from there, no one in a lot of people. Like you could appreciate the qualities through the way Nabadala.
Situational Bahumu, the situation ya Joburg. It was a totally different story for Tsitsi.
Johannesburg, like it lemo ka 2012, and I was 14, right? And next fit mo, I find it out or like different from Patwa and Badulamo because na nekilonga no nyakora luka ko kwandle kinyako dalal batwa.
Some of the other stories he used to tell me about Limpopo is that how him and his friends used to always like play around, like running, chasing after each other. And when he told me that, I was like, what? Why would you do that? There's something called PlayStation now.
More no na le facility better local, like no na le park, na le like all these things that I used to consider like the holy mecca ya play. And I remember we had sessions where I would learn these things. I'd never played a PlayStation in my life until 14.
Yeah, we used to make fun of Tsitsi for being from Limpopo. We used to make fun of his language and him struggling with English. But to be honest, his English was slightly better than ours.
But he was good in maths, he was good in physical science and visual art.
When he moved here, I realized that he liked drawing. That time, he was busy drawing the cover of the Hulk movie, the DVD cover of the Hulk movie. So he'd come and show us that he drew the Hulk and stuff like that. And he was very interested in art, he'd like drawing and things like that. He took up art in high school as well. But in terms of game design or becoming a game designer one day, there were no real signs of that. And the closest thing to that was his love for drawing and his love for cartoons and things like that.
When I started game design, I could realize designing the games or the background knowledge on the games is based on the way right? So my games are made from my perspective or my contribution more the games it's from Namo Kichon.
So when Tsitsi came and told us he was planning on doing game design or he got approached to do game design, we were all shocked because it came out of nowhere. And it seemed like a very cool career, the way graphic design is or the way computer engineering is. And we all just felt that, hey, maybe it sounds cool. Are you sure you want to do this? Maybe next week you're going to change your mind again. But it turns out that wasn't the case.
Game design,
So a lot of my family members, Nabale, they were very suggestive into the kind of things that they wanted me or to study, right? And it influenced a lot of your valid decisions. Like everyone expected me to study some form of engineering, or I'm gonna do like doctor or something. And if it wasn't something I was passionate about, but it's something you have to force yourself to be passionate about, because the people that you respect by expect that from you. So you force yourself, no, let's study this thing.
I know that he did apply for different things at UJ and TUT as well as WITS. He did get accepted into UJ, and he was about to pay the registration fees, but he got a phone call from WITS to say, although we don't have space in our arts faculty, we do have a new course.
My dad, I was very passionate about drawings and animations and creating like fictional characters, and that shaped his kind of decision. Once I got into construction management, he told me, oh no, go back or maybe try and study fine arts, and for a year, right? But when he tried to phone the faculty, we died to the wrong number.
What first struck me about Tsitsi was the bubbly personality. Nothing is ever too much for him. Nothing ever gets him down. When things go wrong, he has this amazing ability to pick himself up and to pick up those around him. He brought energy into our classes that was so welcome. Tsitsi didn't have any idea what was going on, or what game design was about, or why he would want to study it. But after speaking to me for about half an hour, it was clear to me that he belonged.
Design Hanley started telling me that game design, and how we design, and she's the person that made me understand designing games is not a thing about you have to be from a certain culture, or since you were a certain somebody, since you were a nerd, or the glasses, or in front of a computer. Again, there's so many different avenues of making games. Board games, digital games, physical games, all types of games, puzzle games, this and that. And again, I did a lot of understand, okay, there's a lot more that you can do with games than what meets the eye, or than what people think about it in general. So I'm going to show you as one element of game design, or one type of game design, which is video game design, and I'm going to show you the process of making a video game. So what I use is Unity. It's a program called Unity, and I'm going to open it here. There's a lot of different things. So what do you want to know Unity? There's assets, which are things that you make, and you make the prefabs out of all your assets, and in a camera, and basically what the camera is what you're looking, how the player sees the game. Behavior into the program, like into these things, a bit of behavior. That means I have to use a bit of code, or a specific behavior. So bolo if you shapa racket it bounce, and then until you shapa racket and then it bounce again. This is the ball, and we can change the color of the ball just so that it's a different element in the game. Let's say we make it red, okay, and then like player 1 and player 2. If you look now, if I run the program, the ball moves fast. It moves really fast. And then I'm going to show you now, if I slow it down, what's going to happen. So player 1 will be playing this side, trying to hit the ball with my racket. Now the ball went outside, and that's because it moves too quickly. I'll change this variable. This variable is how fast a racket moves. But because I got selected the ball, and I was changing the speed the other racket. So now if I select the ball, I will be able to change speed sub ball. So I want to, like there, it says 30, I'm going to change it to 5, just to show you if you change that variable, it's going to move slower. So you see now, the ball is moving way slower than what it used to see. So let's make it back to 30, where it's balanced, and then come on. Well, Now it bounces off the walls. Yeah, so KO process here, it's a small little game called Pong. Now I started making this game kadi taxi. Like busy, you roll around and then you try and put your taxis. You're a taxi boss. You try to put your taxis more nicer areas so they can make more money.
One of Tsitsi's passion projects is a game called After Robot. And Tsitsi first made us play the game when it was in prototype stages. It was very rough, it was just the idea, it was very basic. We played the game, we saw this potential there, and I guess based on our reaction of the game, we went to develop it and make it better. And before we knew it, the game had its own design, had its own style, and you could play it and you wouldn't even know this is a game created by your friend.
Kinonga calendar and then and I started drawing the roots. Firstly, I drew like a pencil and then I draw a marker, but if you see around, and then I moved over to design a way to Moneke Zamo experiment the way the streets are gonna look, the aesthetics of the game. The numbers are how many things it uses to connect two places. Finally, I move over to the last design. Yeah, this thing will always be improving and being better until obviously the game was released, and after that obviously I can change it, but currently this is the design.
The After Robot game is about you yourself being a taxi boss and versing other taxi bosses in, you know, getting everywhere on time, getting your passengers to where they want to be, and doing it in a cost-effective manner. Now, the After Robot game has all those elements and those dynamics in them. If you look at what we've seen in the news over the past few years about taxi wars and taxi bosses and taxi drivers and the violence around that, the game does speak about that or show that, but now instead of you looking from the outside in, you yourself are in that situation and you can understand what it's like to be in that situation. Although it's in a fun environment and it's a controlled environment, and at least helps you to identify with someone you were never able to identify with.
For After Robot, you need a couple of things. You need the board, you need the dice. Basically, After Robot, like I said, is 4 taxi bosses. Like, another taxi boss out of Albertine, another taxi boss out of Soweto, another taxi boss out of Krugersdorp, that's Mbisa. And these taxi bosses, they cover the battle show. Babe, the ultimate taxi boss. The ultimate taxi boss, get taxi boss or isang taxi, the taxi tie. All on corresponding colors. So taxi high blue on a blue marker, taxi high red on a red marker, taxi high green on a green marker, and the taxi high black on a black marker. First taxi boss to do this wins.
The first time Kidlala After Robot, it gave me a different perception of the taxi industry, because the first time I was a boss of a taxi industry. So it gave me a different insight of how the business actually runs and the type of territory Batho ba nkang on their taxi routes. The game was pretty simple to play at first, as it didn't have a lot of components to it, but it was yet straightforward and it was easy for anyone to play.
Tsitsi had a call from one of his game design colleagues or friends from Belgium, asking him to come to Belgium and to have a talk about game design and its development in Africa, or how far it is in terms of how the world's gaming industry is. So we were excited for him, we were rooting for him.
2 weeks before San Francisco, was the first time ke tsena mo a plane, right, ever in my life. Went to go play after Robert Lebatuba, like overseas, and that was interesting for now because next time were like, but they enjoy it as a game. So, but they can enjoy it as a game, or they can enjoy it as a game about taxis in South Africa.
For the first time, I was aeroplane. I traveled so far to San Francisco. We were just so proud. Papa was just telling everybody, hey, this is happening, guys. And it is emotional. We've come a long way.
First year, I can tell you this: there was only 3 black people in my first year class, right? And when I graduated last year, there was 2 black people actually. There was 1 South African, 1 Kenyan, right? And that's like 11 out of 11 graduates of game design. So we are the only graduates in the continent or in the country, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's just we also brought a different perspective on games. So everyone brought a different, but Baba Angwena a similar background.
Game design in South Africa is not as new as we may think. I think Toxic Bunny was the first digital game produced in South Africa, and I think that was in 1996. But what we've seen in the past 4 years is unprecedented industry growth.
I'm sure you've heard about, oh, you play this game, you play Candy Crush. Oh, I also play Candy Crush. Look, where are you? Nakimo level 5. Oh, Nakimo level 20. How did you get to level 20? Oh, well, that is the most beautiful part, design, is watching people enjoy your game authentically. They enjoy it how they want to enjoy it, and sometimes it's not even the way we intend to enjoy, but then they take it and they make it theirs, and that's what game design is for me. So tomorrow I'm doing a workshop at Amaze, and it's about building games based on the way what by Filanka go on. I'm more taxi rank, and I'm gonna try and make taxi drivers play my game. It's the first time that I actually make people who the game is about play the game. I'm really nervous because most of the people that play this game are either like people who are not in the industry. The idea behind the game was to educate about the taxi industry, because now I used to take the taxi a lot, and when I go to like television, media and stuff like that, but Watla taxi has this negative thing and a negative tomorrow, only to find out that 70% of the country's population it travel like taxi, or they use taxis at some point. And if we level those kind of statistics, and then we share about taxi in some negative way, then like it's like ushapa muthu wa fang dijo. You understand? I seem to be right. And so now I created this game to educate to the thing. And I created to educate over an opinion or so I just in a situation they experience the kind of pressure that Lona experience.
Oh. Hey, Simon. Oh, Shia. Shia.
What can I do?
Hey. Again, what you do? Allocating 81.
Yeah.
18. Oh, 18, 18. Sarantate. Sara. And it takes you again a move.
Yeah.
Now look at that. Then you go to the extension 5. Your name?
Game ya Mushimanyana. Ke yona ntho e right ya go ruta batho ba di taxi mokgatlo o a o tshotse mo yena ona ebile ne re lakatsa gore a ka tsa leeto la ge di-taxi rank tsena kaofela tsena a tlhalefise batho bana ba botlhe bana and then rona mona ba eldos le ba ena daily ra ba amogela bontate bana
Stress to my passengers and the driving and the far of the place where they are corner. This side we've got money to change. This side we've got the pressure of the passengers. So le game is as improvise akakhulu engqondweni zethu. Nathi bodriver bonke ingathi angabuya futhi tomorrow azobona. And manje lo mfana lo manje eyangazi ngathi usibusele esikoleni futhi manje.
This was honestly the most amazing thing I won. I learned so much from Bona. And never in the game did Bampuchor no change others. Whenever they learned, they took that leap by learner and by engage in the game, the way game will go on. And this is just amazing. Like at least whatever I have, this product that I have is a good product for Batukamoka, for whether our G taxi or Ruja taxi. This is it, and this is extremely humbling.
Tsitsi, I know, is someone who's very passionate and very hardworking. So after Robert, is something that I see Kibonore, he can push and pursue to greater heights.
From one game and that has opened doors for, and I don't want it to open doors for now or for like black people from a certain area. I wanted to open doors for all the marginalized people. We're doing after Robert version, the Malaysian taxi industry in Malaysia and Lumo South Africa. I want someone to tell me to come and help us make the South African version and make it available for our fellow South Africans, because this is a product for them, you know.
So in the next 10 years, you'll probably be out of the country working for the top game design firms in the world or game design studios, and that's what I see for Tsitsi in the next 10 years.
Right now, I'm working in game design. I'm a game designer for educational games. Games, they teach maths, right? And it's not, it doesn't, like games, they teach maths that are going to be all the high schools and to help, to aid children into learning maths. A bigger game studio that makes board, digital games and will employ a lot more other game designers. And I've started with this project. We applied for funding and in France, so we want to apply for more funding so that we can work on bigger projects. There's other projects that we want to work on, and that would be great if we could do that. Look on Twitter, social media, Titi Chumia on Facebook, Shapapi, or just Titi Chumia on Twitter as well. You can just search Titi Tweet and then it'll show you it's Shapapi.
Abe a successful young man, abe example ya the other friends and family members, le bana ba ko bona umunyane lena a shebe the examples that Tsitsi a di dirileng. But I knew Tsitsi would be successful because always narata school.
Window yes, I zukuba uklomhlaba ke sizathu.